I'd like to call this April 1st meeting to order. And we have a pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here.
Councilman Hudson.
Here.
Councilman Graham.
Here.
Councilman Weinstein.
Here.
Councilman Mullen.
Here.
Councilman Green.
Here.
Councilman Howe.
Here.
Number 1.
Have you had a chance to look over council meeting minutes? Last one, 3/26, 25th. Any questions? Any changes? Any additions?
Yeah.
If not, we'll move on. Any questions on the treasurer's report?
I know this week went slowly to these ones. I know there's issues with printing out all that, so I would either request to have line item reports sent to me via email or printed. I know not everyone likes them, but they show a little bit more of that. And my listen parts on here.
It's in with them.
I see sewer, water, street, and city.
Yeah, it's in the general.
It's something in the general, like the police and the
Oh,
fire
yeah,
department.
okay. Yeah, so I want the extended version of the city.
Any other questions or additions you want to put on the treasurer's report? If not, any questions on reports that were submitted by police?
How was the bill cruiser?
I believe the bill cruiser went fairly well, to my knowledge, and make sure that, guys got one full cruiser, correct? Yes, all the food bank. There's food, sanitary items, toilet paper towels, things, shaving, toothbrushes, some things that they normally get. Yeah, we provided that. They were very happy with what was on.
Yes.
Are you gonna have Brent go over this?
Yes. I haven't gotten to the fire.
I had a question about the police report. I had been seeing some stuff on Facebook that's troubling just because I don't really realize that people have that much time to be posting stuff on Facebook. This is nonsense. But are we posting this information online?
So, we have a general rundown of what we do every week. Starting hearings and posting that once a week. Unfortunately, sometimes there are stats that are left out, not intentionally, just because it was missed and not marked on our daily log for one reason or another. She had started going through each individual daily log and making sure, this last week was closer to correct. But yeah, so that goes out once a week, lets everybody know, we made X amount of traffic stops, warnings.
Because I had a couple of people contact me and just make it sound like, nothing would get done and nobody would get stopped. And I shared the last month's police report with them. And then, I kind of quickly got a response that was like, oh, I didn't realize this or I didn't realize that. So I think maybe if we could just short circuit some of this with just a little bit more stuff being posted. I know it's, everybody wants everything online so they can see it, but I get it. And it does help to counter that with actual numbers.
I understand. And we have actually, we made a post because we are asking citizens. You do see a lot of negative stuff on Facebook about things going on in the neighborhood. we're only a few people. I mean, we don't have a police force that's down every single street all day long.
Right,
And so there are a lot of things that we see on Facebook a day later, 2 days later, or, you know, they might send an email over the weekend. But we have made a post, and we're also just every chance that we get, we're asking people to please, if it's an emergency, call it in 911. If it's a non-emergency, don't care how small it is, call it into the non-emergency numbers from Marion County so that we can get dispatched out and hopefully try to deal with it as quickly as possible. Because unfortunately, if we're reading about it 3 days later on Facebook, it's really hard to try to catch the person that was doing whatever it was.
Okay, that wasn't a criticism, it was just, you know, when I shared that with the 3 people that called me, all of them kind of backed off of their complaints, so, thank you.
Any other questions for the police on their report? If not, let's move on, questions for fire report that was submitted. And we also have, I've asked Brent to come up with some sort of solution for filling our vacancy of our other full-time firefighters. Any questions on his initial report? Do you have any questions on his additional report filling those positions? If not, I have a question for you, Brent. Would it be better to have 2 part-time firefighters to fill that full-time position, or 3 part-time firefighters to fill that full-time position?
Yeah, that's what when we first talked about Christian's resignation. We've done that before. That was actually where we kind of had the last split. When we went paid, we were 2 full-time firefighters. We're kind of stuck in a little bit of in a bad spot, meaning where we're at. We don't have somebody in full-time, and if somebody's willing to move into the area, full-time position, obviously it sounds better if you've got a salary position with benefits. That's a little more enticing. Part-time is hard to fill. If you have the personnel to do it, it's great. It works out. We just have to have, it kind of has to fit the need for the person more than the department, if that makes sense. So at the time when we split that last time, we had 2 people willing to do part-time. Eddie being one of them, he was the primary, being our fire marshal. He had already retired from the Mountain Fire Department, so it was still a need for him. It worked. But we kind of balanced with that other position, the second part of that. 3 years ago, we had asked the council for another full-time, and we were actually trying to move to a split. That's what we spoke about in the last meeting. We went to a split. We tried to add a full-time, 2 part-times. We were actually going to split that position into a day shift and a night shift kind of thing. And we were going to kind of stagger the part-time so that we would accommodate to have 2 people on at all times, from 8 a.m. basically till 10 p.m. So that was kind of the meeting that we were trying to meet. We still do have calls after 10 p.m., but most of the volunteers are back and they're able to cover calls from that point. The stretch is just trying to get enough people to cover the word. And volunteering is difficult right now.
Does the Baxter Regional Hospital respond to these medical calls?
They do.
After 10 o'clock?
They do. There is no guarantee that the ambulance is in town at any point of the day, 24 hours. Just as there's an ambulance order here in town, I'd say probably close to 80% of the time the ambulance is not here. And we're waiting anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour for a truck. Sometimes being on a boat, we've waited quite some time, wait for a truck. It does happen. So that is the downside, just having available personnel.
Well, and would the, little bit used shop be willing to help with any kind of funding from the salaries of these individuals?
We'll be
Like they
talking
used to do?
So yeah, Lily used up with theater, about 7 years ago. The auxiliary, not really, Lily used up with theater. The auxiliary is its own entity, our own auxiliary. It owns both the theater and Lily used up. It used to have its own board, and COVID had killed it. And honestly, it just did not really come back. The theater is basically financially crippled the auxiliary for the last 5 years. It's to the point that we're at about a $10,000 to $15,000 loss every year. So, unfortunately, the auxiliary is not in a position to do this. And that's when we took the theater on from the board itself. Instead of closing the theater down, that financially became a struggle for the auxiliary. So we're really struggling.
Is it something that auxiliary is looking at as far as selling the theater?
We considered it. Right now, we've got some shows scheduled for the end of the year, and kind of want to make a decision about it. We've actually had some people address that, ask just here and there. I'm seeing it, I think the last one, we just kind of briefly spoke about, the possibility of theater selling. It is an option, so we want to keep it open as long as possible.
Anyone else have any questions? What do you propose?
Fred,
Yes.
the insurance rating,
Yes.
does the staffing at the level we have here, does it matter what you got for how many part-time versus full-time?
It does. And I tried, this packet that you got, it does kind of explain that. It's probably not the best writing. We had a class at the last 2 meetings. I really want to kind of break it down and print it out for you guys. It's a little less than my handwriting. But ISO rating for a full-time personnel, and it's in that second page to break it down and explain what the difference is. But the ISO rating for the town right now is 5. We moved, the last time we got tested, we were 5.8, we're 5.3, 5.4. We're right in the middle. But they're scheduled to retest it again in another year to 2 years. They do it every 10 years. For a full-time position, you get a full-time position counts as 3 volunteers. So in a part-time position, you're still a volunteer. You work under 30 hours a week and you make under a certain amount, which is what really kind of, and that's on the first page, that's really what governs what we pay our personnel for a part-time position. We have to keep them by law, we have to keep them under a certain amount per month, so it dictates what we can actually classify them as. So they're still a volunteer, so even though they're part-time.
And if you had your druthers, what would you rather do?
Personally, the full-time does benefit better for the city, but understand, and that's why I wrote it down.
But the cost difference
Yeah,
would be a matter of concern. Do you have an approximate dollar figure on that?
that's on that first page, and that's on the high side of the full-time. I went high just because it's better to be high and workload, but the minimum or the part-time, basically the minimum pay on that, that's dead on. So yes, the cost of one full-time is definitely almost the cost of 3 part-time.
And you have better coverage for 3 part-timers.
You probably could, but you have to find 3 people willing to make the time to be work. That's the hard part.
What would that drop in the ISO rating amount to dollars, you know?
It's not really the dollar amount. It will affect us, just because with the full time, we get more people, so if we only, right now we're at 17 people, for the department. Myself being paid counts as 3 people, so technically we're at 19, or 20, and 19, sorry.
So the ISO rating dropping that little bit of what it is would not be reflected in homeowner's insurance?
It can, yes. It depends on your score on your homeowner's insurance. So we've been trying for almost 20 years. I've been chief for 20 years. We've been trying to get our ISO down. Our shortfall is our radio system, 100%. We got, and the scoring ratio of that. So radio, we got 2 points out of 10. That's the county that covered Burbank.
What's the radio system from?
The last time was $1.3 million. But that was the whole county. Like I said, the county covers the whole system. So,
And
we're in the middle of trying to.
that's a big issue right now
Yeah.
with the way our county is dealing with our cities of Clifton and Little Shoals right now.
There's a little trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big issue, folks. I mean, they're not, the county is creating a problem for us citizens in Clifton and Little Shoals.
There is some grant money that we're working on. We've already applied through the county, and that we're working on trying to get a new radio system for both fire and police. So the equipment wise, once that gets in place, is great. Again.
So we did this years ago, the fire department bought all that equipment, and now the county stole it from OEM. Plain and simple.
Yeah, some policies that, really does need to work out. No, it is a DPM, so the radio is one thing, water is another one, our drinking water, our pressures are on the low end, but, we do have the most hydrants in the county, out of any city. And testing, everything else is great, so we're working on a lot of, trying to keep up on all that stuff.
Well, typically, the better your ISO rating is, the cheaper the homeowner.
Absolutely, 100%. And the goal is to try to get a 4 or lower. And
Well,
the lower the number, the better.
my only concern with what we're talking about here, full-time, part-time situation, I wonder how much difference that might make.
It
in
does
your
affect it.
ISO rating.
I honestly, point-wise, I couldn't, that's
Not
not
the
something
point
we have
wise,
for.
it's dollar-wise. I'm not-
Absolutely. Point-wise is where it's gonna affect it, though. So the more points we get, and the less we can, the better score we get, the less the insurance is gonna be going.
I figured that, but I don't know where the levels are.
Absolutely, and we don't get that until they, literally the week before they come down to test us. So, and it's not one of those things I want to go poke at and say, hey, we're ready. Right now, especially with getting down to the full time, we would. But again, I'm not, can we accommodate with 2 or 3 more times? Absolutely. The problem is just the availability. And that's where I worry about. And so what I would like to ask is if we can run for the part-time or the full-time, see if anybody is willing. There's a couple options out there for people that are interested. I don't know if anybody, the one that you guys gave me the application for, I haven't reached out to them to see where we were involved. If there is somebody willing to do full-time, that would be great, because we get some of the points, and time-wise, it would be best for us.
Well, it's kind of self-selecting.
Yeah. But again, if that doesn't work out if we run out of paper, it doesn't work out, we can try to put some part-time, that would be honestly.
Now, part-timer wants to take part-time.
Yes, yeah, he's got several other jobs, his work schedule right now works, again, that's great, so, yeah, he wants to take part-time.
And at the present time, you don't have another full or part-timer that, or a volunteer that wants to be.
We have one part-timer that says they would be interested, but again, that's just one.
Right.
So, yeah, so again, putting it out there and see if there's anybody else. Part-time would be, if possible, I think we might have 1 or 2 that we work on. So, but again, I don't know until we actually figure out what we want to do with the job. Want to pay and everything, where the living is.
Anybody got any questions? Joey, it looks like you're ready.
If anybody has any questions, you can reach out anytime. We have to sit down and try to explain it better. Sorry.
Have you talked to the individual that gave the application that,
I was waiting to see where we were at, because that was required in the movements now. So,
Right.
Yeah. But I want to make sure we wait if we go either full-time or part-time.
Well, that's not, I mean, that would, we need to have more information, I think.
Okay.
This is what the council's looking for. So, yeah, reach out to them, they're going to be.
I'll work on that. I'll try to see if the interested in either way.
Okay. No further on questions on public works?
Are we still doing smoke testing, or are we done with that?
No, we're still doing it as we go. I mean, we haven't done any because they've been working on fixing some of the infiltration problems right now. And I'll talk about the other issues that we have later on here. If no questions, move on. Parks report. Any questions on Parks report? Now we'll move on to planning and zoning. Gave you a lot of information on planning and zoning. One of the things that planning and zoning wanted our building inspector, or building official to find out was the intent of the Bel Arco, and they did deliver a letter to the city with the intent that Bel Arco is a resort and will continue to operate as a resort. So, and I looked online today, some of our resorts on Airbnb, but actually was verbal, but he was a daily rental. So it was like $93 for one unit, there was $84 for another unit. He had 4 of them on verbal, and they were being rented on a daily basis. I believe he is doing what he intends to do. Any other questions on planning and zoning? I still would like to have a meeting with city council, call a special meeting with the resort owners before our next meeting, so we can see what they need to survive.
Yeah, I understand that he wrote a letter and said that we intended on remaining as a work or a resort, but I've got to go by what I'm seeing, and that's not what I'm seeing. So I agree with you, there's more that needs to be done here. I don't think that just because he wrote a letter that sounded great, and, I want to keep it a resort, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. I want to see movement towards that. And that, so far, I'm not seeing that. We have to be honest. I think that actions speak a lot louder than words, and I would like to, I agree with you, we need to sit down and talk. And he hasn't been, the last email that we got, I was criticized in the email for wanting to talk face to face and not do this all by email or through attorneys or any of that. I don't think anything's going to get done via email and through attorneys and everything else. This is a community issue. People have gone through the effort to circulate petitions. Resort owners have come to us and said, hey, we don't want long-term rentals in this mix. And we've offered alternatives, we've done everything, and it's just kind of been us talking to ourselves. And I would really prefer to talk to somebody in person, across the table, not lawyered up, and I don't think that's outrageous to ask. I don't think an issue this important is going to get solved by email. So I appreciate the fact that they wrote a letter and said they want to be a resort, but I want to see some proof. And people moving in with their furniture is not proof to me. So, I don't think that we should just say, oh, they wrote a letter, it's all great. It's not. And I for one, think, I get too many responses from people. to just kind of let this go and just kind of act like it's not happening. So, again, I agree with you that we should be getting this stuff done. As far as I know, letters have been sent out and, the clocks are ticking on violations, and I want to see what happens with all that. If they want to adjudicate it in court, great, let's go to court. But, the last meeting we had, the last planning and zoning meeting was very frustrating. On a lot of levels. But I don't think this is, this is not over by a long shot, and there still needs to be a lot of stuff to talk about. And, okay, they wrote a letter and said they're gonna be good. Great, let's see some proof. So, that's why I'm standing on it.
I want to throw my 2 cents into this matter. I've lived in this town for 54 years. My parents owned Mall Motel across from the old Walker's Bank. Okay? I grew up here. I graduated from Clifton High School in '89. They had 2 businesses. They had a motel and they had a tackle shop. When one was suffering, the other one carried. My dad worked out of state. The whole time I was in school, my dad worked out of state, so when I was there, they had 3 jobs. 30 years ago, our town was way different than what it is today. Alright? People buy resorts here in our town, basically they only have one business. There's a lady sitting right over there that's a teacher, I believe they put in school, correct? And her husband runs the resort or motel or cottages or however you want to put it. If she wasn't working, they wouldn't survive. I agree with if they want to rent out one of their cottages for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, if they want to rent 2 of them out, get a permit and go on about it. They have to survive in this town. I don't have a problem with it.
Right. And I'd like to point out that she's been to the meetings and she's voiced her opinion. And she's come to the table and talked to us and been willing to be flexible. I remember at the first meeting when we talked about limited use where, okay, maybe some people needed to rent a few long-term to make it work. I remember that, and I remember you specifically being here, and I appreciate that. And you've been to every single meeting that anybody's called on this topic, and that is exactly my point.
I just wanted to let you guys know where I'm at. I mean, they have to survive. I mean, if they have to do it, so be it. I don't agree with, bringing the U-Haul in there and staying for a year or 2 years or whatever. I don't agree with that. But, they got help in it.
But it's hard to help people that won't come to the table and talk.
And that's why I think we ought to give them one more chance, before our next meeting. No, I'm serious. We need to express to them that we want them to survive. And if it means that they do a monthly agreement with an individual, and if they're building a house and it takes 6 months to build a house or a year to build a house with some contractors around here, okay, they do a monthly agreement. Okay, that way if they're troublemakers, they have the ability to call our police department and have them out. Whereas if they have a lease agreement, they're going to have the sheriff's department evict them. And that's going to take another 8 months to do it. So I think we all, express to them and see what the resort owners, if they're in agreement with it.
But, correct me if I'm wrong, but at the last council meeting, I specifically cornered you and said, okay, you want to give them one more chance, let's give them another chance. And we did, and they didn't come to the table. So now let's give them another one more chance.
No, we didn't ask them to come to the table. That's what I'm saying. The city council needs to sit with the resort owners. They can sit at these front tables here talking with us back and forth and see what they want. Audience is back there, they're listening, they cannot participate because this is going to be between resort owners and the city council.
But every letter that I've gotten as a group, and you guys, I mean, somebody speak up here. Every letter that we've gotten as a council has been, we're not going to be forced to come to the table. We're going to do this our way. If we want to not come to the table and talk, my God, that's our right. And it is their right. It is their right. But there has to be some repercussions for that. And how many one more times are we going to give them? I mean, it's frustrating. We've been talking about this for months and months and months and months, and going to all these meetings and doing all this stuff, and it's always manana. And you know, manana's here, folks. And you know, is there something in these emails that we're all getting that I'm missing? Where they're saying basically, we're not going to be made to come to a meeting. Well, that's fine, don't come if you don't want to, but then don't make it sound like you're getting picked on.
I've got something to say. You were at the last planning and zoning meeting, is that correct?
Yeah.
There was an owner who was at the meeting. She always also was there.
Right.
And I think she was badly treated at that meeting.
Well, I think there were a lot of people that said things that they shouldn't have said, and you know,
Well,
there's plenty of blame to go around, but she didn't come to talk about much of anything. You know,
She was only given 3 minutes to talk. Is that correct?
that's the rules.
Oh, really?
That's what my understanding is.
So there is a Bell Arco owner that did come to a planning and zoning meeting. She did.
And there's other resorts here in town that we need to help out. It's not just Bell Park. She's not there.
I would just one quick thing to leave it on, maybe a thought note. The first is a question. What is the issue with the conditional use permit? To me, it seems as a viable option to do what they are looking to do, but it seems as though people just want to do it their particular way. But when I look at the conditional use, it gives them everything they want. They just have to come in and do it. So my question would be to the resorts and to the rest of us is why is this an issue with the viable option? And then just thought, because I haven't figured it out yet. No one has told me vehemently why they hate that. It just seems like we skirt around it when we have perfectly good options. So just thought, if someone could fill me in on this, how many, we have like 10 till 10:30. So I'm trying to
You just ask someone to speak, because I would volunteer to speak to that.
Okay.
I think our planning and zoning code is very vague, and I'm not telling you zoning expert, I've said this many times. I think 10 people could read the code, and you could have 10 different outcomes of what they think it said. So if we want to fix this, I think we need to, I don't think the conditional use permit is something that's viable, because there are no dates in the code. It doesn't say 30, 60, 90, there are no numbers in it.
The part of the point of the conditional use permit is to allow them to be able to use that sort of property for the sort of leasing needs that they're looking for. So if they're trying to put somebody in there for 12 months, they get a conditional use permit, now they're able to do so.
They can do it now, in my opinion.
And not if you're renting an apartment. See, this is why I don't want to digress into this. So I'll leave with a final note. Maybe the real issue we have isn't so much of how things are being rented, but how we're sending our account out there. What I'm saying is we keep saying, oh, we want to save our resorts for when tourism makes this great comeback, and yet we don't put a single cent except for volunteer hours into actual marketing of our town. You know, I think tournaments are great, but I think billboards and marketing at a 2-hour radius to our larger cities is better. That's when we start going to see. So we keep chasing the cart here, but we're just doing the same thing. So until we actually bring people to the town, we're going to continue to have the survival problem. That's just like, no, we're going to be at the people from that.
Any more questions on reports? Okay. Chicken ordinance.
Yeah, we've had a lot of burning issues that have kind of taken everybody's time, so the chicken ordinance kind of slid it back, but it is sliding back with fury. On Thursday, I'm gonna hopefully have a draft ordinance, next Thursday at the council meeting. I know that some of you out there are vehemently opposed to this. I know some of you out there are vehemently for it, and I know most people really don't care. I will try to have a concise ordinance or draft ordinance available on next week Thursday for everybody to look at. I'll make copies for the audience. This is a well thought out ordinance. I have done a lot of research. I have talked to many towns our size, many towns bigger than us that have done this. And this is something that, quite frankly, when I ran for office, this was one of the things I ran to do. It was one of the things that got me really energized was coming to a meeting and watching this get shot down when there were 419 signatures on a petition, and there were 19 people that spoke against it, and somehow 419 people's opinion went out the window when 19 people talked. And I'm not super good at math, but that wasn't mathing for me. So I think it's important to follow through with what I said I would do when I ran for office. And so this is the last thing of the three things that I said I would try to get done. And I'm going to try to get it done as hard as I can before December. So I'll have something for everybody to look at on Thursday, and I would welcome all comments about it, and I will put all of my contact information on it. So anyway, look forward to that.
Thank you. Resort tax. Okay, going back to if we can get this meeting on. The state of Arkansas I have found, is on our bed tax for a resort. If an individual does a month rental at a resort, okay, with the state of Arkansas, they are collecting the bed tax for that month. After that month, if that same person does another month, the state gets nothing. There's no bed tax. Okay. If they stay a third month, they don't get a bed tax. The state doesn't get a bed tax. The thing about the bed tax, the city doesn't get a cent for that. That goes for the statewide advertising, okay, and the tourism and all that. Okay. One of the things that I would like to bring to the resort owners is maybe we can do, if they have a monthly or more than 1 month agreement with someone, and if they stay a second, third, and fourth month, they pay a little extra. We turn around and put that into a pot to help them out in advertising our city. Okay, we do this. We go along with what Mike's saying. Try to get away from the 2 mile radius here and try to get more advertisement further out so that we get these people coming. Just a thought.
Is the 2% tax, is that like on a nightly thing too, or is it just on the month?
No, that's a 2% daily tax, okay, that goes to the state for the first month. Mike?
I noticed just to circle back real quick, we're kind of getting into it. I'm not trying to stop you, but if I can just have some council minutes. So we get to the end there.
I'm done. I just want to throw out that resort tax thought out there.
So my question is, what are the legal ramifications of us passing an ordinance to collect some funds from resort owners? Is that an issue, or can we just pass an ordinance?
What does that mean now?
That's a valid issue.
If it was a tax. If it was a fee, I'm not sure. So it's something that, we need to look into.
Well, and we'd be putting it into a specific fund that would help the resorts in some way, would be specifically due to that.
Right.
And it's not a lot, it could be maybe 2% again or something.
Yeah, what, what they're normally paying the state, would be what they would pay them.
I do a lot of traveling, and every place I go, if you look at the receipt from a hotel, or even sometimes in food places, there's an extra tax, there's like 2% for food, and sometimes in hotels it's 2 or 4%. You know, because every state is different, and the city's kind of different, so.
Like I said, this is just a thought to put out there to the resorts, and if they, are willing to do something like that, we're all working together on this stuff.
Wouldn't that put, resorts at about 15% tax now, if we did give them an additional 2%? Am I right in that, Louis? So they can go,
We're gonna lose guests if we raise our taxes more and more and more. It's absurd how much we're paying in taxes.
Right now, you're paying 12.2%.
Yeah, it's high.
Yeah.
so an additional 2% doesn't.
But after the first month, you don't pay that 2% if you have a monthly rental more than a month, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so in the
But that-
second month, you're not, if you have that same individual, okay, like Gary coming in and stays 2 or 3 months, the second and third month, he's not paying, you're not paying that state, 2%. So, I mean, if you were able to put 1% aside, Gary paid that 1%, that would help with advertising, putting your name out there, in a wider field, just a thought. So, that's why I want to get the resort open and have some feedback from them. I got C4 zone resource, we already talked about that, unless you guys have a little bit more. Sign ordinance on Steuben Falls sign near the ambulance building over 80 square feet. He paid for 96, I believe, right now. It's actually 128 square foot. The problem that was planning and zoning brought to me was the fact that it was within 600 feet of another off-site sign. Okay. If you go down the dam site boulevard here, Gary's got one sign, and within 100 yards is another off-site sign. Okay, you go another 100 yards, and they're putting up a new off-site sign. What are we going to do here, folks? You got planning and zoning saying that these people are violating the city ordinance. What do we do?
Change the code. I think in some circumstances, it's been going on for such a long period of time, I think there's something called the grandfather clause, where you set some people who haven't experiencing no payment or fine when they should, and set a date to start enforcing what we've got. That's really good. That's what we have to do. A lot of these people get this.
Any other comments on that?
What is Mr. Steuben Paul said about the sign? Has anyone contacted him about it?
I talked to him and advised him that, he had 128 square feet, and planning and zoning was stating that he was going to be given a letter, for violation because, it's too close to another off-site sign. But he fixed the sign that was dilapidated and falling down, so. And the ordinance says that if it's 50% dilapidated, he can't put it up unless he has, comes to planning and zoning. He gets it okay. There's definitely issues here, folks. Any suggestions? I'll be happy to listen to them and see what we can come up with. Auction on items at the ALS building. Chief, have you been able to get over there and take a look at what we can do as far as setting things up in there?
We got tables in there.
I can get you all the images and all the descriptions of everything. If you're gonna do it online. I was just waiting here. I know that Marla was talking about doing the auction, and I know it's your, okay. But we have all that information.
So that's what I'm saying, I thought, Councilman Anderson was already taking pictures of those, certain items that were actually of value, to put on.
Okay, we'll get that to me so that we can make some sort of surplus, that we can do the auction, get it all paid by the council at the next meeting. Another thing was, making out the countersuit, AML coverage needs an additional $3,000. With the AML on that suit, basically, it's a countersuit. When we dropped our suit on the old Harps building, there, he turned around and filed an amended countersuit with the same individuals that are on another suit, okay? AML said, asked me to go to the portal and submit it through the portal for coverage. And they would possibly waive the $3,000 since it's associated with the Farrell case. Well, they decided that they weren't going to waive that $3,000, okay? And what they sent back was an AML letter stating that at this time, defense-only coverage is being provided. No monetary coverage is being provided for the case. Therefore, at this time, the city is responsible for paying any and all settlements of judgments in this matter. This decision does not reflect the program's belief that the allegations made in the complaint have merit, nor does it reflect a determination by the program that wrongdoing, intentionally or otherwise, has been committed. So what basically I'm understanding is if we send them $3,000, okay, and these people, or the city is found liable, we're going to have to pay it anyway.
Now, is this about the old Parks building, or is it about the case that we went to in the old Parks building?
It's
So you
the old Harps
So
building.
you got two different bills filled in one. Am I right? You're right.
No, they're two separate cases.
The AML was trying to put them together, okay? So they wanted me to go to the portal, okay, requesting that the city cover it. Sam Hastings is the lawyer that is representing the city right now for the Harps building. The city had paid Sam Hastings $5,000 retainer fee. I asked Sam, how much does he have into this case so far? Okay, he sent me back a letter stating he has $2,400 out of that $5,000 already paid up. Now, does the city want to turn around and submit another $3,000 to the AML since we already have a lawyer on this case?
Can we take the 2,000 whatever dollars we have left on account with Hastings, can we get that back and then offset the $3,000 for AML?
I'm sure we can.
Because, you know, if we stay,
That's why I asked Sam, how much we have on
right, but if we stay with him doing it, if we end up losing, we lose, we still have to pay. If we pay the $3,000 to AML and we lose, then we only have to pay 10%.
No.
So it seems,
No.
No.
Okay.
We're looking backwards, we get nothing from AML,
Right,
not a damn thing.
I mean, on the Harps building.
Yeah,
right.
We're 100% liable for that.
that whole bunch of paper was nothing but them shielding themselves from any sort of responsibility or liability. I don't know what we were getting for the $3,000.
yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
No, it didn't make sense to me either. I wouldn't give a damn dime. It's up to you.
No, it's up to all of us.
Right.
But that was not my understanding of it, because when so why is it, I'm I don't understand why it's different in both of those two cases.
Two
I
different
understand that, but what I'm saying is, on one case, they're saying if we pay the $3,000, they defend us. If we lose, we pay 10% of that. That's one case. Now, I would assume that if we had the second case and we paid the additional $3,000 for the second case, that the same rules would apply.
No, it doesn't. That's
Okay,
what-
why does it not? That doesn't make sense.
Because in A&L, that literature just has them not responsible for a damn thing in either case.
You know, I mean, it just says that the city is responsible for paying any and all settlements or judgments in this matter.
Right, but the way that I read that was, if we didn't pay the $3,000, that's where we were. If we did, it was different. Am I not reading that right, or hearing that correctly?
See, I probably remember when I talked to that lady down there, I asked her what the city would be responsible, and
Yeah.
said
10%.
if they settled for $1 million, they would pay $900,000, and the town would have to pay $100,000.
That's what I'm saying.
But if you, to me, if you don't pay that $3,000, they're not gonna represent you, so if they win, say $1 million, the city's gonna pay $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, the knock one, they're saying that the $3,000, if we lose, if the city loses the case on the knock-it countersuit, the city is responsible for everything.
Okay, that's not the way I'm reading, so I guess,
You gotta read it.
rather than burn up time on this before Thursday, we need to do some research on that, figure this out, because this doesn't make sense. Why they would cover 90% on one case and not on the other? If we're paying a separate fee for them to defend us, it should be the same rules both ways. So I think there's a communication thing here, where we're just not getting the wire, we're getting the wires crossed. So let's just move on, and I'll come in and we'll deal with it.
Sounds good. Have you looked over the job descriptions? Any questions on the job descriptions? If not, we have to come up with a capital improvement plan for the sewer infrastructure for AEQ. That's the last thing that we have to do. I've been working with AEQ, EPA, DRG, engineering group, and we are still, in fact, we meet tomorrow in a Zoom conference or phone call conference to go over all the data that has been collected. They will help us out with coming up with a capital improvement plan. I have several things on our agenda here that will help with that capital improvement plan, showing ADQ that we are doing something here to prevent any further spillage that may occur during heavy rain events. Any questions on that? Old business is the third reading of 2604. And resolutions, got a resolution here for doing business with Hot Shots because our owner is now a city employee. And he has asked that he be made a salary position working anywhere between 25 and 40 hours a week for $20,000 a year. Okay. Quite a deal. Next thing on there is repealing, and I've talked this over with our police chief, resolution 2024 R14, police incentive, and repealing 2024 R23, administrative assistant. And the police incentive resolution, okay, is we already put it in to an ordinance previously. So it's already in there where we're paying our full-time police officers $100 per pay period extra to be on call, and an additional $20 if they have to go to a call. So we already have that in there, so that's why we're repealing that resolution. Resolution 2024-23, we do not have administrative assistant, so we're trying to abolish that position. The other resolution is on water and sewer connection fees, and this is on new construction. It costs us money to cut a road when we do a water or sewer tap. It costs us money to put the setter in the box, the ERT, the lid, the main line taps, installation. All those costs are figured in this resolution, and if you have any questions on it, happy to answer.
How do we compare to surrounding areas?
It's a little bit higher, but, surrounding areas are also going to be looking at theirs, so, Ordinance 2026-05 is residence requirements, for our police department, and this ordinance takes care of all those other issues, being that our police officers that we have at present, our 3 full-time police officers do live here in town, which is a big plus. Our city vehicles stay here in town, our gas is used here in town, it's definitely a major plus. Part-timers, it goes in here that part-timers have to live within Marion and Baxter County, but they, of course, they pick up their vehicle here at the city yard, so they report to work, and that's what, anybody have any questions on that ordinance? And that one has an emergency clause, so we can turn around and suspend the rules and pass it because it is an emergency for the health and welfare of our community. This is part of the EDQ thing. I took several pictures. I had our public works director with me. We walked down our transmission lines and what I'm talking transmission lines is our sewer lines from the bed and breakfast on 178 that go to the old number 12 hole of the golf course. And then there's transmission lines that come from Connie, and goes all the way down to the number 12 area, or actually it was the old 14 ring. And the ALS building, that one that goes all the way down towards the golf course down there also. They're impassable, and in order for us to get our camera or even a side-by-side down there, we have to clear them. So we're going to either have to buy a piece of equipment so that we can get down there and sell a piece of equipment so that we can buy that piece of equipment. I put in your pamphlets a John Deere tractor that we spent $125,000 plus one job, and one job only. And that is that it lifts that bush hog up in the air to cut the trees along the side of the road that are protruding over our road. It makes a mess, obviously. The other piece of equipment that we were looking at was the Mechalec. It will do 4 jobs, One is, and it comes with the equipment that we need. It has a skid steer bucket. It's got a backhoe. Actually, it comes with 2 backhoe buckets, 18 and 24. And then it also has a plow plate on there for leveling. It has stabilizer bars so that when it, it's a 19,000 pound piece of equipment. It's about the size of a backhoe, okay? But it'll do more jobs than a backhoe. And we have, a couple prices on it. If we can turn around and surplus our John Deere, we already think that we can get it sold for hopefully more than what we paid for it, okay? It doesn't have many hours. We already have a company that's possibly interested in it. If we can surplus that, then buy this, Macalac. It roughly, the 2,000 hour one is $136,000. And if we can get $130,000 for, surplus out of that John Deere, this is a piece of equipment that will help us clear our sewer lines and build our roads in those transmission areas. Merle already knows how to run it. I know our chief of police also knows how to run that kind of equipment. So, it would be a benefit to our city to have that piece of equipment. I know it's a big number, but what I'd like to, do is, if we can, I'll have a surplus on for our next meeting to decide if you guys want to surplus the equipment, and once we get that sold, we can get this other piece of equipment and start working on our transmission line.
Warranty company,
If you buy it new, it's $188,000 with a 2-year warranty. Okay, this piece of machinery is made in Germany. They've been having excellent reviews in Germany. The company moved over to the United States and started selling out here. What they did was sold to companies. Those companies turned around and used them, liked them, got the reviews. So now they're trying to build their network in the United States. The 200-hour piece has a 6-month remaining warranty, and we're really not sure what that warranty actually all covers. Okay, I mean, there's one that has 2,000 hours. Okay, it doesn't come with a warranty. The one that has 600 hours doesn't come with a warranty. But for another $60,000, okay, with the tax, you're getting a 2-year warranty. We don't know exactly what that warranty is covering. Okay. The machine, Merle, do you have anything that you can say on it?
The machine you can't do, it'll actually do, probably 5 or 6. When it comes to doing our dishes and stuff that we desperately need to get to, it comes with a bucket to actually dig a ditch. We don't have anything right now that can dig a ditch and not turn things up. This thing will actually dig it and make it look nice and it'll be good flow. The 2,000-hour machine, I'm not afraid of it. These things are good for 8,000 to 10,000 hours. Any standard maintenance is going to be on us anyway. So the 2-year warranty on the new ones, I don't know if it's a bumper to bumper. I mean, I know they got a pretty good warranty on them, but it's $50,000. I think I can repair it for $50,000 quite a bit.
How many hours do you anticipate we would put on a machine like that in a year?
If we put 200 hours on that machine in a year,
So the 2-year warranty,
yeah, I mean, your
time's gonna run for the hours.
yeah, your time's gonna run out before you even get 1,000 hours.
In theory, the German building engineering is pretty good.
Yeah.
These will last forever to take care of it. So I'm going to guess no more hours than we're going to put on one. If it's got 1,000 or 2,000 hours on it, we've still got 10 or 15 years of life left in it.
And the one with the 3,000 hours on it, it does not have the 8 wheels on it, it's got the location wheels on it. So which is another
Bigger wide.
Which one do you prefer?
I would take the 2,000 hours on it, I wouldn't be afraid of it then.
That's what I was
I
thinking.
mean, I've got a loader with 4,000 hours on it down there that's still
Yeah,
running.
but no more hours we're going to put on one. How long is it going to take us to put?
Yeah, again, I don't think we put 200 hours a year on it.
Well, that's my point. I'm not worried about that. 2,000 hours is nothing on
Yeah.
And it would be 10 years before we put another 2,000 on the project.
That'd be my guess.
Any other questions on?
I can just say from talking to citizens after the John Deere that lifts the thing up and trims the trees, they really hate that thing. I don't think anyone in town is going to be sad to see that thing go.
Was it fast to haul it off?
It is like the mangler. I got so many complaints when I came through my neighborhood. So as far as the folks who live in my neighborhood, they'll come help back it up, I think. So selling that would be no problem.
Yeah, the piece of equipment that this comes with is it's a grinder. It's not a break the branch off and chuck it halfway down the tree.
Right.
Grind just puts it right down.
Okay, the other thing that goes along with, we can use that piece of equipment to do our transmission lines. Okay, so we have the option to hire a crew or hire a company to come and do that. I'm still looking into that. See if I got a list of 7 or 8 companies that may be capable of clearing our transmission lines. Get some sort of estimate on what it's going to cost, and we'll compare it with a piece of machinery. So the other thing is, once we start getting those transmission lines in, we're going to have to camera those sewer lines. We have another company that we're working with that may have a camera in 2 weeks. I've been hearing this for the last 3 months. So, once we start getting this clear, we're going to have to inspect our sewer lines, one way or another. So we got the option to either buy a camera. We found one that is acceptable. It is serviced in Texas, whereas the other one, you have to send it off to China, and it looks like it's made in China. Okay, this one that we're looking at, okay, it's a crawler. It is $21,000. So we have to do something showing that ADQ that we are doing something with this. That's part of our agreement that we have with that resolution. No, that's the attachment for that backlight. That's one of the jobs it does.
You know, the camera do all kinds of things with line?
Yeah, it goes all the way down from 6-inch line all the way up to 24-inch.
And our biggest line is what?
Our biggest line is 14 inches. They'll take care of just about all our lines that we have down.
How big are those lines around?
They vary. The one that's over, I know for a fact, the one that's over Beltline by Phil Howell's house, okay, is close to 15 foot deep. That manhole there in front of his house. I mean, it took everything for our backhoe to dig down that far down. And that was 12 years ago.
That's anyway.
Citizens comments? Oh,
Can we do council comments real quickly?
oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll make it quick and painless. We raised $2,050 for the archery range. On Friday, we have a bunch of hired help volunteers coming out to redo the stairs. Also with that money, we were looking for new targets and some incidentals to help fix the small archery house. I was hoping with those funds, I need to go get a board and paint. If I just bring the receipts, do we do reimbursement, or do we change something on how we do that, or how you prefer it?
What kind of paint do you have? I need.
This white paint.
How about light gray?
We can go light gray with it. Alright, well then I'll just need the board that matches the rest of the outside, so it doesn't look funny, and then the spray foam to seal all the critter holes to go over it.
It's not pretty.
It's like a Disney movie in there. And then I have the email already prepped up for ordering the targets that we said we would order with the money. We've been playing phone tag with Morel. They said they would give us a discount, but we can't seem to get a hold of each other. So the Delta targets, which include a buck, a boar, a black bear, as well as 3 archery stands for those specifically, and all that jazz, plus we're not paying out, we come to about $1,750, and with our incoming archery event, it would be nice to have that all jazzed up before we have a season.
Have you looked in the building at all?
Yeah.
There should be 2 brand new targets.
Yeah, those are the round ones.
Well, no, the square ones. Inside, not the little building, the big building.
Oh, you're talking about the big white ones.
Right.
Yeah, so these would be the 3D targets that we so like animals and all that, and the private citizen is also donating a coyote target, so we have all 4 species out there. But it'd be nice to get those ordered, like I said, with the email so that we can get out there and get everything rolling for the event. Next on my list is Jam vendor and food truck applications went out today, or were put out today digitally. There was a little speed bump, but that's fixed now, so if anyone receives an error code, circle back, you're good to go. We took a lot of the input from Jam last year as far as layout, and people had some concerns about that, which is why I need to get with Mr. Mayor and Mr. Murrow here to mitigate. Ideally, we would like to put the public parking in the largest lot atop this year, which means we need to take off a section of fence and be able to get people up that. So I don't know what we're
You mean on the ballpark?
Yep, up to the ballpark, because we don't want to put the classic cars up there, because that's still a grade.
Well, I took my Prius coming in from, it's low to the ground.
I get it, your Prius is like a classic 1967 Chevrolet.
Yeah, I mean, I took it from the road entranceway.
Either
and brought it in
way,
there.
if we decide we want the classic cars up there, there's a lot more extra room, which would be more viable for public and handicap parking. We would still have the whole lower field with the classic car, which is a ton of parking that we had last year. So either way we do it, is besides the point, but we do need to mitigate a plan on how to be able to make it easier instead of, oh, you gotta make it swerve around the tree and make a left at the fire hydrant, in and out. So.
Merle and I had talked about this earlier.
So, and I think the end of the ballpark closest to the works department, there's 2 sections there that we can just back off and do what we gotta do there. Other than that, my last part is one that isn't good. I have to tell everybody I screwed up. It's not a fun thing to admit, but we got a vital advertising grant for Jam last year. It helped out a lot where we used about $3,900 towards radio, print. We did the advertising video, which is also our advertising video for this coming year, and some Facebook stuff. When I went to go send in the grant a couple Fridays ago. Phil and Paul had expedited me the document that I needed. When I went to go attach the meeting minutes, I knew we had talked about it at the workshop in February, but if you recall, we had a lively council meeting in February, and I got sidetracked, and I forgot to bring it up for meeting minutes in February. It could have been mitigated in March. Unfortunately, I had some personal things going on that just wasn't on my mind, and it got screwed up, and it was my fault. But in order to mitigate that, I'm personally committing to our advertising budget for KCLO and Faster Bulletin, which comes to about $1,500. I'm sorry, it is definitely my fault, and all I can do is try and fix it with sponsorships and everything else, and my commitment to it.
We just got the grant.
Yeah, from last year, it was a grueling process. There was issues at the legislative level, and then there was turnover at the actual tourism department. So we finally just got that after last year, but, yeah.
Mike, how much are you charging for vendor spots, and how much money do you anticipate that generating?
So this year it's free for 501c3s and philanthropic organizations, and then $40 for sales vendors and $80 for food trucks. So if we have around the same, we will see money from it. I don't expect to see a huge income from that, just because most of the money this year will come from sponsorships. I had a talk with First Security Bank, and we're sending over the documents. They want to be the primary sponsor this year, which would cover the bulk of all of our vans, which private citizens covered last year. And then any remaining sponsorships would go towards, our banners, our porta potties, and I'm sure I'm missing something, but incidentals, and then the rest will be upkeep and enhancement of the Yes.
So all of them are going to be coming to City Hall, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and but circling back for the digital forum, I'm going to make you and Paul and Bill collaborators on it. That way you can keep up and I can keep up at the same time of what's coming through.
Okay.
That way, when we get closer to July, we can say they have paid, they haven't paid, and we can just kind of coordinate like that. And when it gets close, we can chase them down and whatever we gotta do. So this system's a lot easier. It gives us all names and numbers and emails. Right.
And then if you want to say, hey, I can knock them off, right?
Yeah. So I wouldn't imagine anyone would send a check until they fill out the form. So that we will go through, and then we'll have a master sheet by July 12th where we can just, and in the memo line that was sent in the form and on social media today, it says specifically Jam vendor in the memo line. Would you like me to do it a different way to make it easier?
I would be fine, because I'm assuming that will be taken off that.
Yeah. So, and we also put in there as a reminder, we do not take digital payment. If someone is approaching you about being in Jam and asking for digital payments, we don't do that. We're pen and paper people.
What's the date of the
September 26th this year. That's all.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do. 1 Corinthians 8 says that you can be right, but that doesn't make you righteous. And if you use that right to hurt others, that doesn't make you righteous. That makes you self-righteous. I kind of said some things last week, last meeting, and I called out some people by name. And right after the meeting, Linda here told me that this is just the way Shoals does politics. They're not going to change it. So from there, I went over to Tracy Patton, and I apologized to her in person. But when I grew up, they told me if I'm going to do something in public, I need to do it in public both ways. So right now, I'm apologizing to Tracy, the Bucci's, and the Dunsons. They did not deserve what I said. Yes, I was right with my facts, but that doesn't make me right in the way I delivered it. It made me flawed. I can't take it back, I can't change it, but I can own it, and I can be responsible for it, and I can be accountable to it. All I can do is say I'm sorry, and I mean it with my heart. I don't, it's not something just as lip service. So again, I apologize to the mayor, the city council, and the city of Old Shoals. You people didn't deserve to be here. Thank you.
Any other comments from council? Citizen comments?
Kenny, you just want to agree, after court, First of all, that was quite a thing to do. Very right thing to do. Thank you. I'd like to clarify something Chief Bad asked about the Phillips Cruiser earlier. It was a success. I'm expecting to go to Sergeant Kenny here. She's put together. She brought the cruiser. She manned it for 5 hours. I want to talk for a little bit, but it was quite a success. The food bank was very happy to have it. But, Sergeant Terrence is the one who put it all together. You need to thank him all over here one of these days. That's good. Thank you again.
Any other citizens comments? Well, we get to
No, you're gonna get me anyway. First off, I'm gonna let everybody know, and you got it in your letter, that the phones were not working in the show. The phones went off October 28th and never went back on until 4/9 of this year. Last year, at this time, I gave the city $7,819.16, 58 reservations. The year before, I kept the phones on at my house all year. And from October 2nd, 2003, putting in 2024, that they wanted in 224, the money from 2023 for the building or whatever, that was up to 20. That was 20 reservations from 10/2 to 11/20. And then we went into January, February, March, and April, May, the total of 83 reservations. I got 5 reservations this year. 5 people. Because the phones weren't on. Now, I know you told me to get over it. But you know what? You better get time to get over it, because I can't make any more money. I can only bring people here and advertise to them at my expense. But you're losing me money.
Okay. Any other citizens comments? Okay. Interdata is increasing their cost to the city by 7% in 2026. Interdata is our water and sewer computer software. Arkansas Department of Labor and Licensing gave us a visit after receiving an anonymous complaint. The inspector stated that she will be back here on 4/23/26 to give our employees some training classes we will need. She added that the bucket truck and auto lift will have to be inspected by a certified inspector, which we are trying to locate one. Just a note, this will have a cost for the inspection. which was not considered during budget reviews. She added that we need to have all safety PPE and to continue with more training, recording who has completed training, which we have been doing. I talked to an inspector. He is actually at North Arkansas Electric Co-op right now doing bucket inspections on their equipment, and I will be bringing our bucket truck in to Mountain Home to be inspected tomorrow at noon. So we'll have the inspection done. It cost us, I think it was $375 for that company. Red Cross blood drive results on 3/25/26. We had 14 donors, 10 units were collected. Next blood drive is May 20th, 2026 from 12:30 to 5:30. Recycling being picked up sometime this month. I believe you... This week they're coming to pick up all our recyclables. So, according to that list that you gave, all those will be gone.
Yeah, they said they took them all.
And it'll take us probably 2 to 3 weeks before we receive the check. Because as soon as I know what that check was for, we'll let you all know. I'm working with the Arkansas State Highway Department to get additional roadway footage added to the streets that had been initially submitted to the State Highway Grant Program. I was able to get an additional 2,182 feet to be approved for paving out of that 300,000. So right now we have, out of that $300,000, we are spending $299,428 on our street paving, 2-inch overlay. So we pretty much used up every bit of that $300,000. Even though Phil Freese continues to put out false information about the city not doing anything about our sewer system, I assure you we are. And the sewer department has been working with Arkansas Division of Environmental Quality, EPA, ERG, and ACOM, an engineering group who has been collecting city data and analyzing this information, giving the city guidance on what areas of the sewer system to work on first. The city has also been working with Arkansas Department of Agriculture for possible funding, the Arkansas Rural Water, and Southwest Environmental Finance Center, along with Northwest Arkansas Economic Development District for possible grants available for major projects. I have been in contact with ADQ with the city's compliance with the proposed consent administration order that was issued against the city on May 15, 2025 for violations that had occurred during the years 2015 through 2024. And I am submitting to them a capital improvement plan with the research data we have collected in 2025 with the above agencies. The next steps the city needs to take is to get access roads built alongside our sewer transmission lines that run south from Highway 178 to Lift Station 16 at River Cliff Drive, so we can inspect the sewer lines with a remote camera for any defects or breaks that are allowing rainwater infiltration into our sewer system. The city is at the point that it must show ADQ that we are serious in fixing our sewer system. This is going to cost the city money in these repairs, and the city will have to spend some of its capital improvement or depreciation fund money to accomplish this. We have $156,000 in our capital improvement depreciation fund for the sewer department. We're going to have to spend some money to show ADQ we are serious in fixing our problem. Yeah, the maintenance fee that we're collecting now is also going into that, so we're building up a fund now. We have to discuss, the city needs, or council needs to discuss working sick time abuse. and we have to come up with a solution. We have individual employees that feel that they can take sick time anytime they want. One of the suggestions that was brought up was have to be here for a full month, no sick time used to earn sick time other than doctor appointments. I mean, if you have a doctor's appointment, that's sick time. You have to take time off, okay? But you have to also earn that sick time. So you should work a full month before you can get sick time. But we need to address this because we have individuals that every second or after the Friday after payday, he's sick. On the dot for the last 3 months.
I agree that that's an issue. We want to double check with AML to make sure by putting in anything like that, we're not violating any employment rights. Just to double check.
Yeah.
Just to, that's an easy lawsuit.
I don't know if sick time is something that has to be given. This is a benefit that we offer our employees for when they get sick. I mean, you get sick. Or you have, an illness and you have to see and go to the doctor. Okay, I understand that. But to me, it's a benefit that the city's giving to these employees. But if you're abusing it, just because you don't feel like going in, that leaves us shortage in trying to get our job done that we have here. So
I've worked with several companies, and it's usually required a doctor's note for the sick time of work. Just something to check in on.
But if you're sick for more than 3 days, you have to have a doctor's excuse to come back. Okay, to work. So that's the only thing that's in our personnel manual. It's something that we definitely have to, look into.
What we got out there at Ranger, if like tomorrow, if I call in sick, they point me, okay? They point me. If I get, and they increase this, if you get 10 points within a year's time, they keep you down the road. They don't matter how long you've been there. Once you reach 10 points, you're done. You're terminated. The only way that point comes off there, like today is what, the 21st? You have to wait till next year, April 21st, you have to point it off. I don't know if the city needs to go to the court for something like that. If you have be pre-approved prior to the date, so they'll pay me my sick time. But like I always tell them, I can't give you a date when I'm gonna be sick.
Right.
So, even vacation's same.
I mean, it's something that we need to look at. I will check with AML, I don't know. To me, it's a benefit that the city is giving employees. But when you're abusing it, and blatant abuse,
Are you talking about paid sick time?
yeah, paid sick time. They get 8 hours a month, okay? But they're using up, they're using up their 8 hours every month. Absolutely. One other thing I want to state is, State of Arkansas, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, our governor, sent us a 250 Fifth Commission flag, and that's what you see it flying over in the triangle now. The governor donated that flag to us. That's what I came from. Pretty much it. Do I have a motion? Let's do it. All those in favor? Any opposed? But